Linux is a multi-user operating system. To use Linux commands, we first need to log in as a user. There are two types of users in Linux: the root user, who has administrative privileges, and regular users, who have more limited permissions for most tasks. There is also service user, which is not in our concern right now. We will discuss about root and regular user privilege in this video, but since this course is intended for beginners, I will try to explain everything as simple as possible. Before understanding Linux user privilege or permission, we need to first introduce ourselves with Linux permission structure. Here you can see permission structure of the root directory. Here, the first column indicates the file type. We can see that there are some D, L, and hyphen in here. D means the file type is a directory. L means the file type is link, or this file links to another file. And hyphen means this is a regular file. The next three columns are for file owner permission. Here R is for read, W is for write, and X is for execute permission. Then, the next three columns are for the files group. Users who are member of this group will have the permissions in this field. The last three columns indicate the permission for the users who are not member of the files group nor the owner of the file. Let's get back to our discussion. Root user is the admin of the system. They are also called superuser sometimes. Root user has access to all system files. They can change ownership of a file, create users, change permissions associated with a user. To use Linux commands, the regular user needs to have permission to execute the binary files associated with the command. Additionally, the user needs to have permission to execute a command in the relevant directory. This makes Linux more secure and harder to exploit. As a regular user, we can do activities that are not permitted by our current user by escalating privilege. If we need to elevate our user privilege, we can do this changing to root user or using the sudo command. To change user, Linux has su command. Without any arguments, this command will log into root user. Using su to log into root, we'll need the root password. If you haven't said it before, you can, using the command sudo passwd root. But remember that root user has access to all files, including sensitive system files. This makes it vulnerable to unintended file deletion or modification. Instead, we have sudo command. If we need to elevate our privilege for a short period of time, we can do this using this command. Also, we can do this using our current user password. For this reason, sudo is one of the most commonly used Linux commands. Let's use these commands in our machine. To understand the Linux file and command execution permission, we will check the permission for a file. For this, I have chosen the shadow file in the etc directory. Here, you can see the permission for this file. Only the owner has read and write permission, and the files group has read permission. All other users have no permission to access this file. Since we are logged in as a regular user, we have no permission to access this file. We can verify this by using the cat command to display the contents of this file. We will learn more about this command in a later video. Here, you can see permission denied for displaying the contents of this file. But let me remind you, we are in the sudoers group. That means we can use sudo command and have root privilege. Let's use sudo pretext this time. Enter our password, and that's it. We have successfully escalated our privilege and accessed the shadow file. Now let's again focus on the su command. This command is used to log in as a different user. Without any argument, this command tries to log in as root user. But we have talked about the dangers associated with this earlier. So be cautious about logging in as root. although we cannot log in as root now since we don't have a password assigned to our root account. We can do this by using the command sudo passwd root command and enter the new password. I don't need this right now, so I am skipping it. Also, we can see that a regular user cannot create a file in root directory since they have no permission to write in here. But it can be done using the sudo command. One last command for today is the adduser command. Since we have learned about privilege escalation and user permissions, we can now create a new user and give them permission as we like. For this, we can use adduser command. Only root has permission to create a new user, so we will use sudo adduser and our new username. Enter required information. Type Y and enter. Now log into new user. Notice the current directory address has changed since this directory is not the home location for the current user. We don't have execution permission in this directory. Also, new user is not in the sudoers group, so we cannot use sudo with current user. We need to add current user to a group for having privileges like that user group. Now again, change user to our previous user. Type groups, and we can see all the groups in here. Now type sudo usermod -a -G, the desired group name, in our case, machine farmer, and the user to add. You may need to enter the password depending on the conditions. Now let's change to new user. And now we can execute commands in here. But remember, we have only command execution permission. We cannot access files. Let's try it. And there it is. One thing also we can do is add our new user to sudoers group. Now we have sudo privilege at new user. Linux permission structure is not easy to understand at first, but it is very simply structured. So give it some time and practice around like this. It will make sense very soon. This is it for today. You can share your thoughts and any questions in the comments section and subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.